Welcome everybody. First things first, if you could just do me a favor, give me a quick audio visual check, please. Let me know if you can see my charts and you can hear me all right, if you wouldn't mind just before I get started here. Got an interesting one today. Markets have been quite volatile, as you can see through the title. Yes, obviously we are dumping, unless you're hiding under a rock, you know that. But, I do see potential for a bounce. So we're going to talk about both the bullish and the bearish scenarios here. All good. Right on. Thank you. Thank you. So thank you very kindly. Alrighty, guys, welcome to another StewTube live stream. The markets have been volatile as hell this week, and luckily for those of you who joined my stream exactly 1 week ago, we were completely ready for this move. As I was saying, it's absolutely possible we end up dropping towards 94K eventually. And honestly, guys, I have my worries about even that. So let's just start by diving right into the charts here. Just hopping over to Bitcoin's weekly chart, I always like to start zoomed out and work my way in just to kind of get an overall feel for the market. This is the one thing that's been concerning me, guys, for about a month at this point. It just looked like something was shaping up, and today is our weekly close. So yes, anything can happen in the next few hours here, but this does not look good to me, to be honest. From a macro perspective, it just looks to me like we're getting this little double top here. But on top of that, it's more so the bearish RSI divergence that I'm seeing here. Just the fact that it goes from overextended territory here, overbought, if you want to call it that, and then going down. So basically, we're attacking that same level of resistance, that all-time high resistance. We're tackling it with significantly less strength, according to the relative strength index. So I know I was talking about this on my last several streams. Yeah, it can be invalidated at any time, you guys. We're obviously, well, I don't want to say the middle, but we are in a nice bull market. The price has a very strong uptrend. Eventually those trends come to an end, or even see a healthy correction. So it's more so just that I'm not saying it's necessarily the end of the bull market. To be honest, I see reasons why it could be. But at this point, it's just more so being open to the idea that we don't have to go straight to the moon. I know everybody kind of thinks that since Trump got elected, that it's just going to be free money and we're just going to go straight to the moon. I just personally don't see it, guys. And I've been warning about that since I think it was a week or two before his inauguration on January 20th there. I said that I really strongly believe that was going to be a sell the news event. And so far, it is proving to be just that. So it's more so the weekly chart here that I have an issue with. If we end up breaking above this box here, we end up invalidating this double top, invalidating this bearish divergence. The RSI just ends up getting back into overbought conditions. At that point, I'll be full moon boy on again. You know what? It's totally fine to be invalidated on theories from time to time. I'm not trading the weekly anyways, but I am trading shorter time frames with the bias that I think it's quite likely we see a downtrend here for a little bit, or some sort of a correction. So the shorts this week have just been absolutely crushing it. I haven't even been trading Bitcoin, quite honestly. I've been mostly trading Trump, a little bit of Deep, because there was that whole AI scare that happened and whatnot. So just, a lot of hype and pump and dumps going on and stuff like that. So I have a few altcoins that I've more so been shorting, ones that have high liquidity, high volume, high volatility. So, but basically, yeah, my theory is that Bitcoin looks like it could see a big correction here. We're going to have to see what happens. If we start breaking serious structure here, the market could be in a very bad place if we start losing this support level. We already have this red flag here. And just looking back to, previous times we've had this bearish divergence, you can see last time, even here, I know on this very channel, I was quite bearish right around this level because of the exact same signal. I know some people think I was wrong because we eventually went up. That's fine. That's like saying bear markets don't exist because eventually we go back up. It was a 30% correction. That was a beautiful bearish call while everybody else was FOMOing into resistance there. And I was warning about the exact same thing happening again here. It was even a Trump event again. Right here was a Trump was going to speak about Bitcoin and all that sort of stuff. So there was a ton of FOMO that how could you possibly be bearish at a time like this? And we nuked 30%. So now same thing, we get the inauguration. There's so many bullish fundamentals apparently happening behind the scenes with government and et cetera, yet the market is not reacting to that. So it's not only important to pay attention to fundamentals and assume, hey, fundamentals are bullish, we're going straight up. No, pay attention to when fundamentals don't matter anymore. And that goes for the bearish side too. If we see a bunch of bearish fundamentals, but the price doesn't react bearishly to it, in my opinion, that's far more important than just assuming how you think fundamentals are going to affect things. So I think Bitcoin's in a rough spot on the weekly there until we get back into overbought territory on the RSI. As it looks right now, I would just expect some sort of a very strong reversal, even if it's short-lived. I just don't see the bulls stepping back in too soon here. I do want to look at the 4-hour. I even mapped out a little legend here because actually exactly 1 week ago today at this exact hour, on this stream, I was told you won't see 94K again when I was pointing out that I truly believe we are on our way down to 94, 91K. This is just a typical Stuber fib. At this point, this isn't even a bearish scenario, you guys. I want to be very clear about this. When I was talking last week about thinking that we're going down to 94K, that was a bullish case for me. That is that, hey, you know what? We set this high. We set a higher high here. That's the lowest point between the two. Pulling a Fibonacci from that point, that's just a typical Stuber fib setup that I like to look for. And the 786, 886 is this purple box down here. If it's the 5-minute or the 1-minute chart, you guys know by now that's my favorite pattern to trade. I've actually been pointing a lot of them out, you guys, in the private Telegram channel. If that is something that interests you, for all those of you who are active traders, there is a link down below as well as this QR code here to access my private Telegram channel, where I share my thoughts on the market, trade setups I'm looking at, important Fibonacci's, support resist levels, and so on. So to access this channel, click the BloFin link down below or scan this code here, and that should take you through a setup. There is a $300 deposit requirement. This is not a form of payment to me in any way, other than this is just your own money to trade with in your new BloFin account or just an active group of traders. So there's some requirements there. But yeah, guys, just to show you an example here of a trade that played out. This would have been on Trump last week. It was a beautiful trade setup. I was called it live here in the group, willing to swing at another Stuber fib short setup on Trump. It'll probably moon again eventually, but I've been liking scalping this so far. It's been very volatile, etc. So here we hit my first target, the 0.5 fib. We ended up hitting the second one, and we just continued running. Just an absolutely phenomenal trade setup there. And that was all live on the private Telegram there. So as it looks right now, just looking at the shorter time frames. Actually, sorry, before I jump ahead on Bitcoin on the shorter time frames, I do want to just take a look at Deep, because speaking of that Telegram channel, I just shared this setup there about a minute before starting the stream. I ended up swinging at a bit of a short here on Deep. It's nothing personal. It's just that I see, hey, you know, there's potential for a setup here. It was a very tight risk reward. If this ends up getting stopped out, it's an 8-to-1, 8.2 to 1 risk reward here. So if it gets stopped out, I don't really care, because, you know, my average entry is this blue dotted line here. That's where I ended up entering. So I'm willing to take the risks associated with that, because no matter how good a trade setup is, you're still going to have losses. But what matters is how you handle those losses. And this is one of those cases where, you know, that loss is so controlled. It's so small compared to the potential win that I'll get here if we end up hitting my target down here. So yeah, if you want to get access to those, you know, before the markets heat up, you want to get my insights and that sort of thing, be sure to check out that Telegram channel, because I have been posting so many signals in there the last week or so. Let me know in the chat, you guys, if there's any of you guys in here who have been in there, if you've seen some of the calls, or you've just you've made some great profits on some of the calls that I made, whatever. I would love to hear your testimony there. If not, I mean, I would love to see more of you guys in there, but that's what I'm looking at right now. Bitcoin right now, it does look like it's starting to get a little bit weak here. We got this beautiful Stuber fib up here as well. I never did catch this short. I want to be clear about that. I saw this a little bit later. By the time I saw it, we were actually hitting my target and it was too late. Yes, had I FOMO'd in, it would have worked out, but I don't like to FOMO into positions when that's not my ideal setup, because that was more so where I'd be looking at taking partial profits rather than entering a position there. So yes, that would have played out, but I missed that one. But same thing, right? We lost this structure. We lost this higher low. We end up forming a bit of an M here, just basically coming back up to my Stuber box, even more so towards double top territory, and then getting rejected. So again, it's not saying that these trade setups can't lose. This absolutely could have blown right through and get stopped out. That's totally fine. That's the game of trading. But when you look at the size of move to the downside compared to how small that loss would have been up here, that's a beautiful setup there. What has me worried right now, just on the 1 minute, so take it for what it is. You guys know at this point that I love looking at shorter time frames. I'm more of a scalper myself, or at least when I get into a nice position, I like to start taking profits very quickly and then hoping that some of my position runs. And yeah, so basically looking at the 1 minute here, I just do see some red flags that maybe this bounce is running out of steam here. Again, happy to be wrong, but just something that I'm noticing right now is just on this immediate trend. Yes, this is going to look like micro analyzing, but we're just setting little higher highs, higher lows on the trend, and eventually we end up losing that structure, right? So right here is a bit of a bearish, just a bit of a warning, if nothing else, that, hey, we lost that uptrend on this very immediate swing here. And then let's just see where we ended up finding a bit of trouble there. Right at the 786, 886. Technically now that would have already hit its first take profit. Now I understand that's a very small fib pull. That would be a very small take profit if you were looking to take partial profits there. But since that's just really laying down how this strategy kind of works, is with that structure, if that's how I pulled the fib, then whatever fib pull I do, that is the range that I'm entering a position on. And if that's the position that I'm entering, I should also be looking at protecting myself based on the same range. I always play the range first, and I look to catch a runner with the rest of my position. So in this case, yeah, I'm not willing to play it. It already technically played out a very small scalp there, hitting the first take profit. I would still expect it to come down here, but it doesn't have to, because one already played out. And from there, if I was in that position, I'd be looking at the other half turning into a running position, basically. But will that happen? I don't know. I'm just saying that this right here, in my opinion, is just looking like this bounce is just starting to have a little bit of issues, right? We could absolutely blast through this, but that's the great thing once again, right? I mean, if we were looking at trading a short setup, I'm already in that deep one. I don't want to take a new one, but if we did end up getting that trade set up and we're trading back to the bottom of this range down here, again, you're looking at a 5-to-1, 6-to-1 kind of a ratio. Let's actually see, what would the Stuber fibs be if we are even going to continue on bullish. I would still like a pullback. That's kind of funny how I just kind of eyeball it. That's exactly where the 786 is. So if we did end up getting that move down to the 786, that's basically a 6-to-1 risk reward, right? So just seeing that little bit of a structure loss here, it's just an early warning sign that, hey, this bounce may be short-lived here. To be quite honest, I still really think we're on our way down to 94K. I would not be surprised if we see it tonight or tomorrow on market open or whatever. And just like any trade setup, you guys, it doesn't have to happen. That's the thing. Just the main thing about being in the market is learning how to protect yourself. And basically what I'm looking at is, rather than FOMOing into longs when we were trading up near resistance last week, that's where I started becoming open with the idea that, hey, you know what? We had the Trump sell the news event. The structure is starting to look a little bit weak. Breaking structure, retesting structure, even on a very small time frame, right? Here's an example right here, just on this very immediate little swing to the upside there when we got our dead cat bounce there, where everyone started getting FOMO again into resistance as they do. We ended up breaking that immediate structure right here where I made this red line here, because we have this high, higher, high, higher, low. We end up breaking that, and look where we end up pulling back to, 786 pocket right there, and absolutely dump from there. So it's crazy how often you see this happen. And it's also using these fibs, it really makes it easy to see why so many people struggle with trading. And it's because so many people love being breakout traders. Most people love shorting into support because it looks weak. They love longing into resistance because it looks strong. That's very normal in the market. It always looks that way. Just like when we come down, if we come down to this fib pocket down here, there is going to be so much fear in the markets. Social media is going to be nothing but bear porn. Everyone is going to be very scared of what's going to happen. And in my opinion, that's where, if we're going to see some sort of a relief bounce, I really think that's where it's going to happen. My one concern with that, I am very open to the idea of looking for longs in this area. I am not open to the idea of just blindly setting limits down there at this point. I really want to see how the shorter time frames react. I want to see a lower high on a 5 minute, or at least a 1 minute broken, and then a Stuber fib retest kind of a thing. Just some sort of something, maybe a shift in trend on my indicators on a shorter time frame, anything, just warning about some sort of a lower time frame reversal in that fib pocket. That's where I'll be open to the idea of longing this market again. But as it stands right now, I just can't be overly bullish on this market. I mean, I've been shorting the shit out of Trump for the last couple of weeks. So many people are expecting it to go nuts and go to all-time highs again. And you know what? Absolutely, it might, but it doesn't have to. And so far, it really just looks like any other meme coin. It looks like, yeah, you got rugged by the guy who was going to save your bags. He straight up rugged his followers. And you know what? It is what it is. The price is just in a nasty downtrend. It shows no sign of reversing at this point until some sort of a lower high is broken. I will not be bullish on this coin whatsoever. So I'm just going to keep shorting it until it backfires, basically. I've been loving shorting this coin here. Speaking of that, I've probably got some more examples here. Let's go into, actually here, this was from last stream, you guys. Last stream, we took a short based on a Stuber fib here, and it absolutely nuked after we ended up closing the stream there. So again, if you don't want to miss these signals, you know, now that we have this private channel going and that sort of thing, if you don't want to miss those signals, you want to stay one step ahead of the markets, be sure to check that out. You can scan the QR code there, or click the link down below. But yeah, just a beautiful short there, over 400% in less than a few hours, basically. Absolutely phenomenal there, you guys. Absolutely crush that. And that was just another typical one of these setups right here. What I'm looking for right now on Trump, speaking of Trump, is I am looking for one of those setups. It's just that I think that we can bounce a little bit higher, especially the fact that we ended up taking out this resistance here. I think that was a fairly key level, just because on this trend here, we had this low here. We have a lower low. This is our confirmed lower high. We ended up breaking that level. So at this point, I'm not overly interested in shorting it quite yet. I would love to see us get up back into this fib pocket here. I would look to start laddering in some shorts on Trump again. That is the 5 minute chart, so take it for what it is. Like I said, I like the shorter time frames. And when I look at those fib pockets, basically the 786, that's kind of where I'm starting to consider potential resistance. So that's where I'm usually starting to ladder into my positions if I have a valid setup like that. Oh, did I actually end up getting stopped out on that? That would be disappointing, because it's probably going to keep dumping, but I don't know how much wiggle room I gave myself here. Yeah, that one, whatever. I had my stop pretty tight there and whatever. So that 8-to-1 risk reward, yep, stopped out. That's totally fine. Like I said, no trade setup, you're going to hit your trades every single time. The important time is that, you know, when you win, they're significantly larger than what your losses are, right? So I think so far, I just checked, I have a 62% hit rate on my winning trades so far in 2025. So I'm pretty happy with that. You know, that's a pretty good hit ratio. The account is growing, even though Bitcoin and altcoins are dropping, the account portfolio is growing. So that's always good. That's a good sign that you're trading well. So I don't really care if I lose the odd trade. If you ever take a trade and you end up getting stopped out and you're like yeah, obviously you're going to be disappointed anytime you don't make money and you lose some instead. But if you're actually upset, like genuinely upset that you lost a trade, you're trading with too much money, you're over leveraged, you're doing something like that, because you should be able to take many, many losses before seriously affecting your trading account. And I guess that's just an important lesson to learn, because if you're thinking that, and even if you think that, oh, my losses are always very small, so I'm just going to go all in with my account and I'm going to keep my stop loss very tight, because if I win 1 out of 10, then I'm going to be up. Not necessarily, right? Because there's always the chance that I am tempted to reshort this here. There's always the chance that, sorry, just sidetracked myself there. Yeah, never mind. It's all good. Yeah, let's hop over to Bitcoin here. Bitcoin is still also, yeah, this really looks like a classic Stuber fib rejection here, but I feel like I missed the one on Bitcoin. Do I want to re-enter this one? It's too bad. I really feel like this one is going to continue to the downside, but I don't really want to take a second loss on that one right now. Just because a lot of things are getting near support too. Like I said, I really think we do go down a little bit lower, but we're so far into this down move that it's starting to get risky to reshort things now. Like Solana, for example, beautiful test here, daily Stuber fib right here. I was strongly considering setting a long on Solana down here. At this point, obviously, yes, that would have been great. But I was more so looking for the shorter time frames as well. But either way, you don't catch them all. Yeah, I mean, there's always trades that are coming and going. You're never going to catch them all. But just to show how strong that this trade setup can be right here is, again, it doesn't really seem to matter what asset, what time frame. I always treat structure the same. And that's why on the 4 hour, when people were telling me, oh, you won't see 94K again, maybe not. But if this was a 5 minute or a 1 minute chart, I would have zero interest in longing anywhere until we got down to this level. And I treat the 4 hour the same, that structure is structure. And one of the most important things about looking at structure, I mean, when it's actually, a lot of you guys have probably noticed I have a bad habit of not mentioning prices. I don't mention the prices on the sides here quite often, because I think that people who focus too much on the numbers and everything, it's just a way to blind yourself from the charts. I more so treat structure for what it is. Structure is structure. I don't care if it's a 5 minute, a 1 minute, a 1 hour, 4 hour, daily, weekly. I treat all structure the same. The numbers on the side, it doesn't matter what those numbers are, because if the structure is saying that those levels can happen, they can happen. And like I said, if this was a 5 minute chart, I would be looking for my long entries down here. So I'm kind of hanging on to my bearish bias until we get something like that. Or maybe if we do create some sort of structure where we end up breaking a lower high and then finding support and carrying on higher, something like that, I would be more open to the idea of looking for longs. But at this point right here, I just can't shake the feeling that we are going lower and altcoins are going to continue getting hammered and that sort of thing. So I just want to see something. I want to bring up an indicator here. We still have lower buy signals here on my trend master indicator. I have a feeling we're going to see a sell signal soon here. Don't have it yet. Oh, that loss was so small that I'm tempted to throw another one in there, but let me just take a look around at a few different charts. Bitcoin, yeah, see, we are getting close to that second target, even though that was a very small range there. Something to consider is, like I was saying earlier, if we end up blasting past this second target for this little Stuber fib, I think it makes a lot of sense, especially if we lose these lows. I think it makes a lot of sense that we'd come down and test this fib pocket down here. So I think And at that point, we have to see. I mean, if that weekly panic really sets in, because we do have the weekly candle closing in a 3.5 hours here, I can't be bullish on this market right now, you guys. I know it's unpopular opinion. Everyone wants to hear the moon boy FOMO and that kind of thing. And to be fair, I'm starting to see some more bearish sentiment online on social media and that sort of stuff. So there's still that possibility, you know, that this market cycle does invalidate all of this and we just go straight up. I'm totally okay with that. I would love to see my bags pump. But looking at it from a trader's perspective rather than the investment side, yeah, I've barely sold any of my investment side of things. However, my trading style is drastically different than it was a couple of weeks ago, just because I'm more so trading the downside as a hedge to my portfolio, if nothing else, right? Just want to catch up on some of the chat here. First of all, I want to thank you guys. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for those of you hitting the thumbs up button. Those of you who have subscribed, if you like, you know, me going through my level-headed approach on the markets, kind of looking at some of my trade strategies, giving my honest opinion about the market, whether I lose a trade, win a trade, whatever, just my opinion on the market. If you do appreciate all that, be sure to do me a favor, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to this channel so you don't miss my live streams. See Hurley in the chat. Nice. Good to see you here. Missed the price action. That's unfortunate. I know you would have been shorting it with me. Stu Bear jinxed us last week with his return. Yeah, yeah, you know how I get. I had to nuke the market on you guys. I'm sorry. Yeah, and that's another thing, you guys. You know, we went from 108K down to 89K. So going from 109K down to 98K, it's really not that bad. And I agree with that statement 100%. Things aren't that bad yet. It's more so the fact of how the structure is forming on the weekly here that really does have me concerned. It's not the price action that has happened. It's the price action that I think is going to happen. Sunday dump is for buying. Looks like a great level to start scaling in my opinion. See, I think we go lower. I think that it'll be a decent point to start scaling in down here, but to each their own, right? That's more so me looking at it from a trader's perspective, trying to, I guess, keep my invalidations nice and tight for if I do get stopped out, right? You want those losses to be small. I just don't want to jump into any positions early here because I really do think that Bitcoin's going to drop further. And I think that means altcoins are going to drop a bunch as well. But happy to be wrong. That's just kind of how I see it playing out is all. Video unavailable. Shouldn't be. I think everyone has video. I see video. Hopefully you get that sussed out there, Tube Dog Surf. European market opens in 12 hours. Usually it's good after weekend dumps. Yeah, and that could be. I'm very curious to see how the market open tomorrow morning is. I'm curious to see if the market is going to be very spooked by everything that's happening with tariffs, with the price action, with everything going on, or if it is going to get bought up very fast. I mean, we're going to have to see. Wouldn't be the first start to the year where people start claiming right away that, oh, this alt season is canceled and that sort of thing. And I want to be clear about this, you guys. I'm guilty of that as well. Seeing a lot of people start to say that, you know, this altcoin season is canceled. It's not going to happen, blah, blah, blah. I have seen that in the past and previous market cycles as well. I see myself feeling that way. But the difference is, you know, a lot of people aren't willing to adjust their strategy as invalidations happen. A lot of people aren't willing to be wrong. Whereas, like I always say in these streams, you guys, I think it's 100 times more important to be able to react in this market than predict. You can have all the greatest predictions in the world, but if you don't play them, does it really matter? Whereas a lot of people I know who are amazing traders will openly admit to you they have no clue what the price is going to do, but they know how to trade it anyways because they know how to protect themselves. They know how to hedge. They know how to have tight risk reward management, that sort of thing. So you don't necessarily need to be bang on with your predictions. It's way more important to be able to react. And that's why I think it's so important looking at, chart structure. Number one, always chart structure. I like looking at a few indicators as well, but that's always a second opinion. I'm more so interested in chart structure. Yeah. I am throwing a little more back into this guy. I just can't help but feel it's going to continue dumping here. That's unfortunate. Because I do leave a little bit of wiggle room. Like you guys can see my fibs here. My invalidation, I usually count my 115 as my invalidation, and I leave a little bit of wiggle room past that. I must have just got. Oh, I just got wicked out, and it always hurts. I know we've all been there, but it hurts when you just get your order wicked out, and when you had the right idea. And I think that's what happened on that one, unfortunately. But whatever, we'll see how the new one goes. How is everyone feeling about the market? Is anyone excessively bullish, excessively bearish, total moon boys, no clue what's going on? How is everybody feeling right now? How I trade this weekend dump is a blessing. I don't short at this point of the cycle. Yeah, I mean, fair enough, to each their own, right? And also, that's the thing, right? When I say like I'm mostly shorting this market, I am trading, like I said earlier, mostly trading the 1 minute and the 5 minute. So just because I enter a short doesn't mean that I'm going to be bearish for the entire week. A general rule of thumb that I like to play on is, okay, if I entered a position 10 candles later, whatever time frame I'm looking at, 10 candles later, how are things looking? Should I be downsizing my position? If I'm on a 1 minute chart, I should be probably taking profits and updating stop losses within 10 minutes. If it's on a 5 minute, probably within an hour. Within an hour, probably within 12 hours, et cetera, et cetera. I just think it's not that it's, set in stone, but it's always worth considering, because a lot of people, and the reason why so many people struggle at trading the shorter time frames is because people will nail an entry on a 1 minute or a 5 minute chart, no problem, but then they'll expect it to move like a 4 hour chart. And that's not necessarily what the market's going to give us. So, that Trump short looked impressive. There was an amazing Trump short in there. I want to actually bring that up for you guys. This guy right here. Trump 1 minute looking like a quick scalp down, in my opinion. Trump 1 minute, and then basically entered right below the 786 there. We ended up going down to my first take profit. I closed 25% of it, and then it absolutely nuked. Absolutely beautiful setup there. Called it live in the Telegram group there. So if you don't want to miss those signals, and you want to, like I said, stay one step ahead of the market, or just kind of see how I'm looking at things and how I'm updating my positions as I go and that sort of thing, I do share a bunch of signals in there. So there is the QR code there that you can scan, or there is a link down below that you can click that'll take you through the steps there. But absolutely been crushing it in there this week. So hope to see more of you guys in there. Solana still kind of just hanging out. I should zoom in a little bit on Solana. Take a look at the 5 minute. Look how perfect that test was on my purple box. That was the daily box there. Man, that would have been a beautiful long entry. Even though it's not like we've gone far yet, 4% with a little bit of leverage. I mean, that's a nice little trade. And again, whenever I get into a trade, I want to be clear here, I am not in that trade. But anytime I'm in a trade like this, I mean, yeah, I would already be looking at taking partial profits, because that's how I treat my trading. I always start my positions and treat them like a bit of a scalp. I play the range first, and I hope to get that home run afterwards, right? Fib Pocket Ultimate buy zones, absolutely. Market sucks. I'm having a great time in this market. Actually, guys, something I wanted to talk to you guys about today is sorry, let me erase some of this rudeness here. Something I wanted to talk about is everybody is going to be so upset about the bull market when it does end. Again, I'm not saying it's for surely over. I just see reasons for a further correction. If the bear market does hit, I want you guys to understand that I can't wait for this next bear market. I actually am, I think, one of the few people right now under the assumption that this bear market is going to be so much easier to play than this bull market has been. And I know that's opposite to how most bull markets have been. Most bull markets, you just buy whatever and you hang on for dear life. The thing is, right now with the Solana ecosystem, with the meme coin culture, with all that sort of stuff, there is literally over 1 million different coins being printed every week now. The market is so diluted on the altcoin side of things that it's actually kind of difficult to find the top performers, you know, the altcoins that are actually going to do well and continue doing well in this cycle rather than just having their phases. You know, I think it'll be significantly easier to play the bear market this time, because one thing we know about bear markets is generally everything, Bitcoin might drop like 80%, everything else drops about 90%. We know that every one of those meme coins, you know, everybody's trying desperately to catch the new lottery ticket meme coin to the upside, but there's so many rug pulls and stuff like that. Whereas when we get into the bear market, we know all those meme coins are dropping at least 95%, and it won't matter which one. They are all going to be getting hammered on. And I think that is going to be very easy to play. I think it's going to be very profitable. I think it's going to be easier to just hodl shorts than hodling any sort of FOMO trash meme coin that you've been trying to hold on to this cycle. Obviously, yes, there's the odd one that does very well. But come bear market time, they are all going to do very bad. And that is going to be very easy to start shorting things, in my opinion, especially when you have some sort of a trade strategy where you have controlled entries where you're not worried about getting wicked out. And if you get wicked out, you have other strategies to get back in, et cetera, et cetera. You know, I think this bear market is going to be amazing. And that is where we are going to have such an amazing time in the Telegram channel. I am going to be ecstatic about this bear market because, for one, I mean, there is a special feeling to shorting the market. When you make money on the downside, there is such a special feeling to that. And also they generally play out quicker. So I think it's going to be a blast. So far that new short is sitting okay. I guess I should throw it up there, the new entry. Hey. Oh, I'm disappointed that I lost my good one. That is such a frowny. Yeah, this 304. Oh, 403. Or wait, no. Yeah, that's a shitty entry, but whatever. I'm just kind of playing the momentum to the downside. Smaller position. If we get a bounce back up, I would like to add to my position. I would actually be looking for something. So here would be the new Stuber I'd be looking for. Since we lost this structure here, we obviously had this high, higher low, confirmed higher low. This is where we broke that, right? So there's our bearish confirmation. It would make total sense. I'm actually doing what I make fun of people for doing, for looking for breakout plays. But the difference is I understand that we could still bounce up here and get a retest up at these levels. But I'm more so looking at like just starting a small position like I did. And then if we bounce back up into a Stuber pocket, that's where I'd start laddering in heavier entries to pull my average entry up. But that's kind of what I'm looking for there if we do get a bounce. If not, I mean, so far we're just carrying on a trend to the downside, right? Yeah, lower low, lower low, lower low. So we're just kind of trending to the downside. Again, just like I mentioned before, I think that it makes a lot of sense we pull back to this bullish Stuber down here. I'm not interested in longing those levels just because I'm not bullish on the market right now until Bitcoin gets closer to that 94, even 95K. I'll start at least easing off my bearish theories a little bit. But again, I just don't know if that 4-hour chart can fight this weekly chart. I have a very bad feeling about what I'm seeing on this weekly chart here. I wouldn't be surprised if we see, this is going to be a random prediction. It does not have to play this well or this way, but I really think that after our weekly close, we're going to come back up, test this box, and then just get devastated. I think the Moon Boys are going to get cocky as we bounce up into resistance once again to retest it. And with this bearish signal here, I just have a feeling that we're just going to test up a little bit and just get absolutely nuked. But we'll see. Happy to be wrong on that one. Bring up my Algo Master indicator. It actually pulled up this bearish super fib. It did have this bullish one. It did agree with the one that I had pulled. It's actually pulled this bearish one, which has already been invalidated. So I'm not even going to consider that one right now. What is the Algo Master saying here? So the Algo Master, notice it prints that bullish one that I just had. Right, this one here, if I turn that on, it lines up with my fib pull. So that is bonus points there. It is a second opinion that's a valid range. Except again, I'm just not overly interested in playing the bullish side of things right now. Not quite yet. I still think there's room to the downside is all. Red Panda, good to see you in here 2 weeks in a row. You betcha. I am planning to start doing more streams here. And as well, I'll be very active in that Telegram community. But yes, I am planning to do some more. I just had a few catch-up things to do the last week or so. Mystical, good to see you here. Always appreciate seeing you in the comments. Called it again. Thank you. But again, don't win them all. I did lose that trade earlier just from having my stop too tight, so it does happen. Countries could print money to offset tariffs and economy effects. This could be bullish for all assets. And honestly, that is one thing that I am strongly considering in the back of my head right now. Is I'm just waiting. I think the most bullish thing that could happen for Bitcoin right now would basically be some sort of panic, capitulation, panic, turn on the money printers, just like at COVID, right? People are saying that, oh, we can't push the price higher because tariffs are coming. Everyone's going to be poor. No one's going to be able to afford assets like this, etc. That's just so familiar to how COVID was, where, hey, nobody knows if they're going to have jobs. There's so much uncertainty. Nobody knows what's going on. So no, Bitcoin can't pump. Well, it went absolutely parabolic as soon as the money printer turned on. So that is something worth considering. And that is also why we have invalidations, right? Because you know what, if the money printer turns on and it pushes us above this level, we invalidate my structure as well as my RSI divergence here. Like I said, I'll be a moon boy just like everybody else. But there's just a couple of red flags. But I do agree with you 100%. If there's some crazy flu that comes through, a new war, I guess the economic war, the trade war that's about to start. It really depends what happens, but I think at this point, the bullish needs something very scary to happen to actually spark a parabolic bull market. A little bit backwards thinking, but that's just kind of how I'm seeing it right now. Pam just learned about the Telegram. Love it. Nice. Love to hear it. He didn't rug everybody necessarily. He is doing what's best for America. I mean, I don't want to get too political here. I will say that I think he's setting up America to have a strong economy, or well, more so a strong government. Like, to me, it seems like, yes, they're going to focus on, the national debt and cutting national expenditures and stuff like that. But I don't know if that's necessarily going to be good for the people on the low, us plebs. I don't know if it'll necessarily make us stronger or America more of a superpower in general, but the people aren't any better off. I'm very curious. Honestly, I don't have a strong opinion one way or the other. I find it so much easier to understand or just trade a couple of colorful lines rather than understanding how the world economy is going to react to everything that's way above my understanding. But yeah, it's tough to say what's going to happen there. If Rugg and his followers to put that money towards the national debt or his agenda, I mean, I really don't think those billions of dollars. Well, actually, what happened was they were straight up selling Trump tokens and buying tens of millions, well, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of better crypto coins. So they basically printed money out of thin air to acquire better crypto and basically got everyone to panic sell their crypto. Like the Trump coin, I mean, when it first got launched, it sucked so much liquidity out of so many different altcoins. The meme coin industry just got absolutely hammered when that happened. So, I mean, it depends how he puts that profit to use, I suppose. I have a feeling it's not going straight to the country. But that's the thing. I won't pretend to understand for sure what's going to happen with the economy based on who's doing what. I'm just looking at the charts, playing it for what it is. So this deep short is still running. Perfect. Yeah, guys, the markets are heating up. Like, no matter how you look at it, it kind of looks like Solana might take a retest back down. I don't know. I just really don't feel confident in the support levels right now. I'm less bearish at these support levels, but I really don't have a ton of FOMO in this market right now. Just that weekly chart, I can't get over that right now. I'm having a very hard time dealing with this because I just think that it's so obvious. Maybe it's too obvious and we do break out, but oh boy, that looks nasty. That looks very nasty. Yes, C. Pauly, good to see you here as well. Always see you in the MDX group. Yeah, the Telegram, this is a new thing. Just started last week, posting tons of signals in here. So if you want to be kept up to date with that, I do have this QR code here. We had some beautiful calls on here. You can see that most of my trade setups have been on Trump because I've been so bearish on the coin and just willing to short it every chance I get. So calling out a lot of Trump shorts, keeping people up to date with how I am trading this market. Bitcoin, Solana, Trump, you name it. Absolutely having a blast in there. Oh, that's the wrong one. That is someone else's Telegram channel. Sorry about that. This is mine, Stu Signals. Sorry. There is also the link down below if you want to double check. That's my bad. Stu Signals. That is the group that you want to be in for my degenerate scalping, shorter time frames, 1 minute charts. Let's just get a couple tunes going here for a minute. Oh yeah, here we go. Let me know if you need to get some reality. Yeah, Stu doesn't watch the economy, but next week we'll have the job data and Friday unemployment. If datas are bad, we're in deep doo-doo. Yeah, and that's absolutely true. And yes, you are correct. I don't really follow that kind of thing. Honestly, I really strongly believe that my biggest edge in this market is not looking for an edge by looking at the news, looking at what's going on social media. I very much just stick to my own charts. Even people who I consider much better traders than myself, I still just keep my head down when I see them posting things. Yes, I consider them if they agree with what I'm seeing, that's great confluence to have. But, I don't let anybody else basically decide the way I'm looking at charts. I have no interest in being a part of an echo chamber or anything like that. I just like looking at charts and I see them how I see them, and I'm not going to let anybody else affect the way I think about them. So yeah, I just trade the charts for what they are. I try really hard to avoid speeches and numbers, all of it. So that's just me personally. Yeah, thank you, producer. Sorry about that. Totally threw up the wrong QR code there for a minute. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Again, guys, if you do want to see these types of signals, like I said, I'm finding these Stuber fibs because I can't always. It's pretty darn hard to get into a position on the 1 minute chart, um, get my entries, get my stop losses, my take profit set, share my ideas, get onto YouTube and start streaming. I mean, that trade has come and gone. So whereas when I'm in a group like that, it's a lot easier for me to post my signals very quickly there. So if you don't want to miss those signals, do yourselves a favor, get in there, scan the QR code, hit the link down below, whatever you got to do. There is a $300 deposit requirement for your BloFin account. I want to repeat, that is not a form of payment at all to me. This is your own money to trade with in your new BloFin account, just to ensure that we have, active traders. It's a traders group. But yeah, getting some absolutely phenomenal calls in here. Like I said, that Bitcoin trade was up over 400% in a couple hours, had a couple Trump shorts over 200% in a couple hours. Absolutely crushing it in there. So do yourselves a favor, check that out. Yeah, as you can see, Bitcoin, like I said, it was just looking weak, and all it took, that's all it took, right? This might be seen as micro analyzing, but that's just a higher low on this swing that got broken. You get your retest, a bull trap. Everyone FOMOs into resistance. That's the exact same thing that I was looking at on Bitcoin when I was looking for the Trump dump. Honestly, this purple box right here, where do you think that's pulled from? I pulled from this top back here down to this bottom here. And that's basically the trade setup that I was looking at. Actually, sorry, this purple box is from a different setup. But I was looking at resistance in this purple box, and I was saying that I strongly believed that by the January 20th that we would be ending up hitting this Stuber fib pocket for Trump's inauguration. And we absolutely did. We actually got that double top, even a liquidity grab a little bit higher. And that's kind of the thing too, you guys. I'm talking about that bullish Stuber fib down around 94 down to 91K. The thing to consider is that Stuber fib is pulled based off the theory that, we have our high here, higher high here, higher low here. I'll just pull that once again, just to make it more clear that this is the bullish one. But the thing to consider there is that from this high here to our higher high that is only wicks. So it does look like a liquidity grab. The candle bodies got shut down right at that level. It looks like a swing fail pattern to me. And that's another reason why I thought it makes a lot of sense we go back to the bottom of the range. Now, if these candles would have closed above this resistance, I still would have expected the same pullback. I would have been a little bit more bullish on it. Yes, it's a warning that we may find support down there, but honestly, just that's a weak higher high at best. And with the weekly chart looking as weak as it does, I just have my concerns about this in general. I'm not going to set any blind orders down there. I would be very happy to get into some longs. Obviously, I'll be keeping the Telegram up to date if I do decide to do that. But that's just kind of how I'm seeing it for now. And yeah, guys, if you already have a BloFin account, you do have to start a new one. It has to be linked through my link to get access to my channel there. No KYC, so it's really not a big deal. It only takes a couple minutes to set up a new account through a new email. But the link down below and that QR code can both take you through the steps there. Looking forward to seeing you guys in there. We've been Yeah, it's fairly new, but we're popping off in there. A lot of good content in there as well already. Even the things that have already played out in that group, understand that you can go back and kind of look at the structure that I've been looking at. There's some very good quality content in there that shows the structure, even shows a couple of the indicators I use and that sort of thing. I know not everybody has them, but just how I use a few different things, how I look at fibs, how I look at structure, how I adjust my positions on the fly, because sometimes I'm closing things early, like I said, reacting over predicting and that sort of thing. So definitely check it out. Do some shows on the street to collect $300 and you'll be there. Right on. Looking forward to it. XRP, guys, this is one last one I wanted to talk about today as well. I know XRP Army, XRP has one of those cults behind it that everybody just assumes it's going to take over the banking system or whatever the thought is there. I just really don't see it. But anyways, no matter how I look at it, XRP looks like it's in a dangerous spot to me as well. If I'm looking all the way back from all-time highs in 2018, all right, the start of 2018. So this is 7 years ago, we were at this double top territory. Just a very little liquidity grab there. We're already struggling. We're kind of getting back below that 786 again already. When the bullish posts started coming out on Twitter about XRP going ridiculous targets, I was seeing $500. I saw someone say XRP was going to 30 grand. Don't be ridiculous. The market cap would be so high that even if that happens, you should be miserable because of what happened to the economy in that case. But I was getting quite concerned about things here. Not even concerned, just cautious. At these levels, you know what? We're trading into all-time high resistance 7 years later. It absolutely makes sense that we would see some sort of a rejection there, even if it's short-lived. I just don't think it's necessarily a good idea to be FOMOing longs with leverage into resistance at a strong all-time high weekly level of a coin that is quite well known for, having its big explosive move to the upside and then slowly bleeding out for years. So I have my concerns with XRP. I guess I haven't been an XRP moon boy since these days. I was definitely one of the people that held on too long. That's totally fine, learning experience, but I learned my lesson with XRP after that. Trump having a hard time getting up to those levels, although we never did, even on this very immediate swing on the 5 minute rather. We have not broken a higher low yet. So this isn't necessarily off the table yet. I'm still really hoping to get up to these levels and look for a short, because shorting Trump has been my favorite thing to do the last couple weeks. Trendmaster, we do have a lower buy signal on the 5 minutes. So just another thing that's warning me that I feel like the next sell signal is probably going to be lower. Maybe we won't even get up to these levels. If we get a lower sell signal on my Trendmaster indicator, I might FOMO into a short as well. Just because that would be a warning to me that, hey, you know what? Here we have upward trending buy signals, upward trending sell signals, and all of a sudden we have a lower buy. And if we get a lower sell confirming that, it just looks to me like a warning that the trend may be shifting to the downside. So that's something I'll be looking for on Trump as well, as a backup strategy if we don't get up to these fibs, basically. Anyways, guys, I think that's about all I wanted to go over today. Hopefully you guys found this stream useful. If you did, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss these videos. As well, as I mentioned, if you want access to my private Telegram channel, you don't want to miss those signals. You want to get my live thoughts on the market when I can't be here making these streams with you guys. There is the QR code here on the screen, as well as a link down below. And both of those things can take you where you need to go and give you the steps required to get through that. So yeah, been absolutely crushing it in there, you guys. Seeing some absolutely phenomenal trade setups in there. Many on Trump. We had Solana in there. Bitcoin, we're trading it all. I don't care, shitcoin or not. You know what? I'm here for trading. I don't care what I'm trading. As long as it's volatile, I am into it. So with that, I'm out. Stay safe, my friends. Peace.